I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots, I be getting money. I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady.
Welcome to I Look Good Naked Podcast with Stacii Jae Johnson
and Cass Seekers Beatles.
And we are joined today by a beautiful friend that I have been knowing for a very long time,
Yes.
Miss Stacii Jae Johnson. Woo! I'm so happy you give your own applause. So fantastic.
Yes, a one-stop shop. All I need is me.
So thank you for tuning in today. Cass, do you have your quote of the day?
I do have my quote for the day, and it is by Lucille Ball.
Who we love. We
love
love
Lucille
Lucille. Oh
Ball.
my God, that's such a great treat for me.
Yes.
Go ahead. What did she say?
She said, "Love yourself first, and everything else falls into line. You really have to love yourself to get anything done in this world."
Yes.
I
Yes.
so agree with that.
That is
And I
so
love
true.
that quote. I love it.
I freaking love that.
Yeah.
Because I love her, and I know, I've read books
Yes.
on her and her story, and just how she had to be a beast.
Oh my God!
Back
People
then
have no
to
idea.
control-
People think she's
oh.
just this little actress. Like they don't know she's a
No.
producer. She was an exec.
She was
bought
the
the
owner.
networks.
Yes.
She
The
owned
owner of her own
Desi
production
Lou.
company. Mhm.
She bought them and was like, "My husband,
Yeah.
who is not white, will be my husband on the show,
Yeah.
and you guys are not going to replace him with a white husband
That's right.
just because I'm white."
And it was the first pregnancy on
It was
TV.
the first pregnancy on TV.
Really?
The first,
Yeah.
one of the first
Oh my
interracial.
God.
I think it was the first interracial kind of relationship,
Yeah. She was dope.
marriage on TV.
Yeah, I liked Lucille Ball because she owned who she was from a feminine standpoint
Yes.
as well. And in relationships, sometimes we get so bogged down with what I call a masculine energy, which is basically doing. It's a doing. It's analyzing, strategizing, planning. All of that is a masculine energy, and because as women, we have to live in that lifestyle daily in our work environment.
Right.
We take it into our home, and what
Yeah.
I like about Lucille Ball, that she embraced her feminine energy as well, which is more being,
Yeah.
and she was intuitive and she was soft, but she was funny, and a lot
And
of times
still a
we forget
businesswoman.
that. And still a businesswoman.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I always say, women that can be masculine and feminine, they know how to have a Ferrari, but they know how to drive it too.
Right. Well, I mean, to be honest, from some of the stuff that I've read about her, there was tension in the home too,
Of course,
and I
yeah.
think that had a lot to do with it because he was a very masculine man as well, especially being Latin. Latin men are very masculine and
Just
she,
culturally, yeah.
Yeah, and she was who she was, and she did talk about that being, being soft and being the wife and wanting to have kids and all that, and she did play that role and she loved it, but she also had this other side of her.
Absolutely. We both have, as women, we both have masculine and feminine energy. And the great thing about women is we can use both. Most men who are masculine majority, they don't want to even attach to their feminine energy.
Right.
They don't even want to acknowledge that it's even present.
Right.
But for women, we can pop in and out of
Right.
it. The thing about dating and love is we tend to not understand when we need our feminine energy and we're masculine in a relationship. Too masculine
Oh,
sometimes.
so much to talk about.
Well,
Yeah.
we're very happy to have an expert on
Yes.
the love, dating, single woman.
But
before we
your
get
woman.
to that, I am going to give my woman in history of the day. And today I have chosen Ruby Bridges. She was born September 8th. That makes her a Virgo. 1954.
I don't think you've done that for anyone else.
I know. I don't know why, because it was so close to Libra. That's the closest.
You're a Libra?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Ruby Bridges, a civil rights activist and author, first black child to desegregate an all-white elementary school in New Orleans in 1960. She and her family suffered cruel threats and mistreatment by professors and community members who were against desegregation. Served as head of the Ruby Bridges Foundation, formed in 1999 to promote tolerance and respect of all people, regardless of race. Bridges' struggle has been portrayed in many works, including the 1998 TV special Ruby Bridges and her own book, Through My Eyes. She's a recipient of the Presidential Citizens Medal and an honorary degree from Tulane University. And that is Ruby Bridges.
Man, 1960. It's so crazy that
Yeah.
was just, and people wonder why we're where we are. Like, it was literally
That's not
Yeah.
that
in
long
our
ago.
lifetime, a generation, not even our parents' generation. It was
Yeah.
celebration. Yeah, that's, I don't
Too
know.
close. Yeah.
It's
So
very
big
close.
ups to you, Ruby, for being the brave, fantastic, feminine, and masculine woman you are. So, Stacii J.
Yes.
We're very happy to have you.
I'm so excited to be here. I can tell you, I didn't mean to call you out on social media like I did.
She did. She
Yes,
called
I
me
did.
out. But we were coming around to you.
I
Girl.
was
We're going to
like,
get to everybody at some point.
Yeah.
She sure did. She was like, I'm still waiting for my phone call for my invite.
Thanks. Hello.
And guess what?
Here you are.
And here you are.
Yes.
So, Stacii, I want to read your whole title because it's a long title. Well, first of all, Stacii and I have been knowing each other for a very
long time.
You guys knew each other in LA. Right?
Yes.
Yes.
I remember I'll never forget our little conversation at the
in
Boston Market.
Boston Market. Oh my God, we were such
That's
struggling
hilarious.
actresses.
Do they still have Boston Markets?
I don't
know.
know.
Random. Okay, go ahead.
But
Struggling
back
actresses.
then they did.
Yeah, they did, girl.
And I remember me and Stacii broke, struggling actresses, just suffering for the craft. And we just wanted to go out and have a dinner together.
Oh,
And
and
so
you could get your vegetables,
Girl,
and you could get everything
yes.
at Boston Market for
Yes.
$8.99.
And
that
when
good
I
little
say
bread.
we were putting together our money and our
Yes.
pennies and our little dollars,
Y'all hear
and
this?
this is what we can buy, and so we
Yes.
bought ourselves
Wait a
dinner
minute, did y'all
together.
share? Y'all share
Yes.
we were
Yes.
broke, child.
Oh yeah, y'all.
Yes.
I had to share a plate
No,
of Boston
she-
Market.
And we
I
were
thought y'all
just-
at least. Oh
No,
No, and we just
And y'all shared those
vented.
vegetables?
Yes,
Yes, girl. And
yes.
that cornbread.
And they do have
Girl, that cornbread.
Yeah.
Glory.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So we shared a meal
Oh.
together.
And look at you
we
now.
just,
And look at you now.
just
Dreams
talked
do
about-
come true.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
talking about our struggles. We were crying.
Girl, yes.
We were just
That
like,
was a
oh
day
my
I'll
God,
never
it's
forget.
never gonna happen. I hate this stuff. And we
Why
just
is it
kept
so
going.
hard?
Yep.
But then we woke up the next morning and we
And
said,
start
like, girl,
all
what
over
audition you got? What audition you
When
Yes.
I say you have to be crazy to be an artist,
I know.
like
I
it's
agree.
so heartbreaking every single day, and
Yeah.
every day you just jump off that ledge and like it's over, and then the next day you just wake up and climb back up the wall and be like,
Back up.
let's start
because it's
again.
your breath. That's where
Yeah.
you get breath from.
It is.
You know. So
It is. And
yeah.
Stacii is a fantastic actress, always been an artist at
Yeah.
heart. And so now, this is your title.
I
Author,
love it.
dating relationship expert,
Yes.
radio television personality,
Yes.
and women's empowerment advocate is vastly becoming the go-to for all things single girl.
Yes.
Yay.
I know. I just want to know how you arrived at that. Like, I know
Yeah,
we're gonna go, but like,
yeah,
how do
the
you
build.
arrive at? Like, we've seen the build,
Yeah.
but like, how do you become the dating and relationship expert?
Well,
Let's start there.
Yeah, well, first of all, let's start back in 2005 when my mother was dying of cancer. And on her deathbed, she told me more than anything, she wanted to show my sister and I that love works. And that just resonated with me because my mother was married 5 times and she was passing away. My mother died at 56.
Oh my God.
And my grandmother had been married 3 times. So divorce and married, well, we are the women that you marry, but we also get divorced too. So when my mother passed away, it made me, of course, that was my best friend, look at my life and say, what the hell am I doing? You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting married, and I was always proud that I didn't get married.
Yeah.
But as I looked at my relationships, I would be in these long relationships. Girl, and the way I would get in them, I would meet a guy, I would go out like 4 or 5 times, and I am your girlfriend, okay? Baby, I'm about to make you some greens, and that's when you really gonna be convinced that it's me and you. Okay, so then when I looked at that and I looked at every relationship, I was like, oh my God, I would just give myself to these guys without anything. Like, I didn't know who they were, not the really things that mean anything in a relationship.
I get it.
So then I said, you know, I said, God, so I didn't get married, but I'm like this serial monogamous person. Like, I'm going to date you until something bad has to happen, which is another part of my teaching, and we'll get into that. But so then what I decided was, I said, you know what? I'm just going to date. Now, originally, I didn't get into this whole business of and my
Right.
purpose right here. I'm just trying to, my mother told
You're
me.
trying to figure it out.
I'm trying to
for
figure it
yourself.
out.
I'm just trying to be like, love works.
Oh, love works. My
Right.
mother said she wanted to show me love works. How do you do that? How do you get to that? So I became a self-study and I dated and I just said, you know what, I'm just going to date. I am not going to date any particular guy because I would literally, y'all, for maybe even 3. If you had a good job and all that, oh, I was your girlfriend probably at 3. Okay, 3 days. No, for real.
I'm
Yeah,
your girl,
No, I'm your girl. We go together. Okay. So then I just started dating, and what I realized was the biggest thing I realized was that there were things that men I'd been trying to change myself for. Like if he said you're too ambitious, and I'd be like, you know, let me bring my ambition. You know, let me make sure I show up more for him so he'll know I'm there, whatever. Then I meet another guy, and I didn't know this. I love your ambition. I was like, well, shit, I've been over here for 4 years trying to change this ambitious part of myself, and this is a man that he loved my ambition.
Right.
So I was like, okay, wait a minute. So I became more empowered. I started discovering all these things about myself. I wasn't settling because, hey, if you don't call me, I got a date.
Right.
It's okay.
Right.
You ready? Okay, you see what I'm saying? So then a girlfriend of mine said, through some things that happened to me personally, said, Stacey, wow, you've been researching and taking all these classes for yourself. Why doesn't this become a business? First I was like, girls, let me tell you this. No, it ain't, because I can't be broke. And the last thing black women want to do is confess that they need help in love, dating, and relationships. We just want to, you know, we're perfect, we're good, we're empowered, we're this, we're that. And I'm not about to allow my $2 to come from them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the community I am. But then God said, no, that's what you're going to do. Okay? Whatever $2 comes in, you just better grab it and save it. Because they might come in, they might not come in a lot from these sisters over here, because it's going to be a lot of work.
Right.
You know, because the last thing we do, even in our communities, even when it comes to mental,
mental
health is go get help. So you know, if you're not picking help over your mental health, over your love life, when really you're definitely not going to pick a pair of shoes.
Doesn't it all kind of come together? It's like,
you know,
it's your
mental health
and how we feel about each other and how we think and how we move has a lot to do with
how
dating.
successful.
Yeah, exactly. So I then gave into my purpose, and I've been doing it. My first book, which was this one.
Yes.
It's kind of, and this is literally my copy when I speak. So this is this one. It's called Date Girl, 143 Reasons Why I Believe Women Should Date Multiple Men. And on the back, and the premise is single women give their most precious gift, monogamy, to men who have yet to show themselves deserving. And that's what I was doing. I didn't know these dudes.
Yeah.
I would just be giving myself to them. Because that's what I'm supposed to do. And I would stay until he cheated, lied, tried to date my girlfriend, wasn't, just all of these things instead of saying, I'm who I am, he's who he is, but we just don't go to good together. I gotta wait for something devastating to happen.
Right.
And then
would you know? You would know before the devastating.
Oh girl, you would know.
Right.
I've never coached a woman who did not know. After the thing about it is because for black women, life has to happen, and you out there and you're trying to take care of yourself and all that. It's not the thing that you're thinking about, because you're thinking about, I gotta be all right because I gotta do this for my kids.
Right.
But when you sit a woman in coaching, I don't want to get emotional. I get emotional every damn time I think about this.
Okay.
But when you sit a woman in a coaching class and it's a one-on-one or a small group or whatever, and it could be a large group, and you ask her the right questions, she comes up with, oh my God,
right.
It was there all the time.
Right.
So you're talking about he ain't S and he did this, but really he told you who he was 6 years ago.
And you accepted it.
And you accepted it.
Right.
So, let's decide if we're going to be, I always say, you got to decide whether you're going to be, especially when you're in a relationship with a guy who does tell you who he is.
Right.
You can find a way to be comfortable in your discomfort, but don't be going up to him talking crazy all the time. He done told you 6 years ago that he wasn't going to marry you. Girl, give it up.
Right. Because we always think that we can change.
We
We're
can
the
change.
one.
Yeah, and it's him. When you gonna marry me? Girl, he told you 6 years ago. Just decide to be comfortable in your discomfort and stop doing that man talking crazy, because he told you who he is.
Right.
What's your problem?
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So then I wrote this one. Yes. Then I wrote this one.
But you made a workbook.
Then I made a workbook. Yes.
To go with that.
Yes. Because I would be on the road. Yes, a self-discovery guide for women who are dating multiple men, and I would be on the road, and women confuse multiple with just the number that you're dating. Meaning that's not my methodology. My methodology comes with asking yourself some questions, girl. for you to get to the one, why is he the one?
Right.
And did you really like write down 10 qualities that you love about yourself? Write down 3 nice things that people have said about you. You know, write down your list of
Yeah. So about you.
Oh, it's
always about
you
you,
know me in
not
real
about
life.
me. Yeah.
It's always about me. Okay. Yeah. Me being happy does not mean anyone else has to be discomfort.
That's right.
If they experience any discomfort. So I wrote this, and then it started to what I learned from feedback is people were like, "Oh my God, I thought I had to just date 4 or 5 guys, and then that's what you're talking about." No, that would be stupid. I think about things. That's not dating multiple. It's the number, but really, what questions are you asking yourself?
Right.
And then I decided to write this one, which is it's a combination of these two, but because it's the second edition, and because so many people confused dating multiple men, that means I'm having sex with multiple men.
And just automatically be like, oh,
you are exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's not it. So this one I put with no intimacy on the cover.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be clear. Yeah, it was on the back the first time. Right. Oh, you so.
That's what my would have
I did
said.
not say
Dating multiple men.
I talked to women in
But it's
church.
the same thing.
It's the same
thing.
thing. It's the same
With no intimacy, don't be a hoe.
girl.
Same thing.
Date girl.
We get it.
Yeah, so I wrote this one and I combined these two because someone, Rashawn McDonald.
Rashawn McDonald.
Yeah, he told me,
Love
he sat
Rashawn.
me down one day. We were at some.
He's so smart.
Yeah, and he said to me, he said, "Yeah, I hear you've been doing this thing, and tell me about it." So I included, with no intimacy, da-da-da-da. He said, "But Stacii, I get all your emails, and that's not on the cover." I was like, "But it's on the back." He said, "Yeah, but people don't sometimes get to the back." So that's when I did new cover and added these two together. Which still in our community is still and I won't put them on blast, but it's still a problem sometimes because of the title. There's a lot of awards I hear that I could have won, but because of the title in our community, it's still kind of like, ooh. And there's one particular person.
To date multiple men.
There's one particular organization that I even paid them $250 because you have to pay a fee to even put yourself in the consideration. Then I sent them 15 of my books, which was hard work for me to send my money. Hold on. And what I hear was they didn't even open the book to consider it because the title threw them off.
That's fine.
That's gonna make me cry, but yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that wasn't
Isn't that
crazy.
crazy?
Yeah. That's not
Isn't that crazy? My hard-earned money. But anyway, God is good.
God
all the
is
time.
good.
All the time.
Why
God is good.
143? Why 143 reasons?
Well, it was 178, but I thought that was a bit aggressive. So
So 143 is not?
no, 143 is "I Love You." Remember Music Soul Child song?
yeah.
143.
See, I felt like it was a
Everything is
reason.
thought-provoking. Yeah, everything. I think everything through.
Oh my God, you guys remember when there was beepers?
Yes.
Yes.
Y'all used to beep
Yes,
143.
I didn't even think of that.
So that's why it's 143.
Or we used to have to try to make words out of the letters.
Yes. Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh my God, I used to beep 143 to my boyfriend all the time.
That's
Yeah, so
funny.
143
That's
because
hilarious.
the
I love it.
the
I love you. Kelly's asking, what is 143? I, 1 letter. Love is 4 letters.
You is 3 letters.
Right.
So dating multiple guys is the best way to find the one. So the one that you love, 143. So that's that last reason in there. Yeah.
I freaking love that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cute.
Yeah.
That is
Thank
cute.
you.
And then one of these is being turned into this one.
Yeah.
It's being turned into a movie.
I'm turning it into a movie, and
Which is fantastic.
Yep, it's being written right now. I'm so excited about this just because it allows this to come to life, and it's such a fun journey. A lot of times women think dating is supposed, and I did too. It was exhausting, child. Who Lord?
I always loved it.
Oh, you did, Cass?
Oh my God, I love dating. My first book was about a girl dating 3 different guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shut
I love dating.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I did. I love the journey. I love people, and so it was always. I probably dated for the wrong reasons because it was like a social project. It was always a psychological study, getting to know them.
Right.
Then you learn yourself. You
Yeah.
learn all the things you like and dislike.
Yeah.
So I just loved the whole journey and the process of dating.
So let me ask you this
Definitely.
question. That's
Yeah.
so interesting
Yeah.
because most women believe that when they're not dating and they're just working on themselves, they're discovering things about themselves. And I always go, girl, that's you with you. You need to be
You
out
gotta
on a
be
date
out
with
with
somebody
dates.
to discover something
Yes,
right? So
I
it's
agree.
interesting that you said that.
And you can't always just be with your friends to discover it because your friends accept you for who you are.
Right.
And so they just say, oh, that's how you are. But when you start dating different people,
Yes.
they are just like, why do you do that? And then you be like, why do I do that?
I've always enjoyed dating. When I was
Really?
dating,
Yeah.
I liked going on dates.
Yeah.
And I like talking to people. I like engaging in
yes.
conversation. But I will say those times when I didn't date and I was just by myself, I dated myself.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I feel like there was definitely some discovery happening with me taking myself out to dinner by myself.
Yeah.
With me going to a movie by myself.
Yes.
And I enjoyed that process as well.
But I think that even when you're dating, you should always be doing that. Even when you're married, you should always be doing that.
yeah.
So taking out, it's not like, oh, now I'm dating people. And then I'm dating myself.
As opposed
And
to
now I'm dating
the
people.
Lord.
And then I'm dating myself. No, why can't you do all that shit at the same time?
Yeah.
Right.
So I believe the journey as a single woman should be full, living, loving, laughing, learning, and enjoying my single life to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
The better single woman I can be now, the better wife I'll be later. Because I won't look back and be like, I want adventure now because I ain't had no adventure when I was single. Girl, you better get that adventure now.
Right.
Because when you married, that's a whole nother kind of adventure.
That's all.
You
That's
see what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right.
Oh,
That's
no.
right.
I think dating, the reason why you said I think women don't like it or it stresses them out is because they're dating with the purpose of finding
Oh,
it.
yeah.
See, that's the difference.
Yeah.
I never dated with the purpose
Yeah.
of finding
That's
it. Well,
so
I
good.
dated to have a good time.
Yeah.
I enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
And then it was like, what's next? Who's the next date? Or I dated because I have money and I'm like, ooh, who's going to take
Girl,
me out to
that
dinner?
too. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I had different
But they
reasons,
are
but it was
dating, just like you
never
said,
like,
yeah.
oh God, like if he's not the one, then it's just
Right.
gonna be. And I think that's the
Right.
pressure. How do you? What do you have for that? What do you say to women about that?
Yeah. Well, I always say when you're dating and you're in the result of the date, you're really not at the date. Every individual has,
Say that again. Say
When
that
you're
one more time.
dating and you're in the result of the date, you're not really in the date.
See.
Everyone has something to give. You're
That's
bad.
See.
See,
You can
I
really be
want
one
you
of
to
my
say that one
quotes.
more time.
Right, you can really be one of
We
my
can make that
quotes.
one more time.
Shit,
and
I done
Melissa, we
forgot
can put
now.
some thought on this one.
I done forgot.
No.
I have
When
because
you're
I say
dating
things
and
like,
you're on the result.
yeah, when you're dating and you're in the result of the date, you're not really on the date. You're not in the date.
Give a moment for them to take that in. And go.
You know what? I am between two directions. Okay.
That was great. Yes,
Yeah.
that's good.
So what happens is we go on dates, just like you said, Kaz, you want to find the one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about being on a date and just being in the date and knowing that every
Yes.
individual, no matter if it's a bad date or a good date,
Yeah.
will get you to the one.
Right.
You know
They
why?
add
Because
something
you
to
bad. The bad dates teach you, oh, hell to the no.
Yeah.
That is
Right.
not going to happen. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right,
And the good
right.
dates get you, ooh, I didn't even realize I liked that.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even I didn't realize who I was in that. He asked me that
Right.
question.
Right.
But if you're always in the result of it, you never enjoy the process, and you're exactly right.
Yeah.
That's why it's exhausting.
That's why it's
And
exhausting.
women do
Oh my
too
God.
much. They on the date trying to figure out, like instead of, remember back in the day, you would go on a date, and Cass, you probably, because you spoke to it, you're just putting on what you like.
Right.
Girl, these girls at home think back, okay, let's see, what should I wear? You think he might like this? Or,
Right,
girl,
yeah, I
what
did
about,
that. I
like,
did
what, you
that.
see what I'm saying? Like, it's too much.
And now the
Right.
pressure
Just
is
go-
because now people are researching they're going through his
Yeah.
Instagram. See, we didn't have
Oh,
any of
yeah,
that.
because
so
he's this type
dating
of guy.
is different when we were
It's
dating.
definitely-
Yeah, so
like
you're
we just
exhausted.
had to go and figure it out. We
Yeah.
didn't know anything.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
You're figuring out, and instead of you going more empowered and say, you know what, I'm gonna wear what I want to wear,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna check out. I'm there to see who he is,
Yes.
instead of trying to show up and be what he needs to be.
Right.
Be,
Right.
peacock
It was,
posture.
it was always a joy. Like to me, I'm like, you're lucky you're even going out with me.
Yeah.
Where women don't feel like that. And I did. I still
No,
do.
that's a confidence that no
Yes,
men.
I'm like, dude, like you don't even understand. Like I gave you
As
some
long
of
as
my
you didn't
time.
say that though, right?
I might have said it once or
Ooh.
twice, but
That's not a part of my methodology.
That's not part of Cass's methodology. And she's not a dating
Oh,
expert.
Yeah, no, you had me for a minute, but no, we can't say that.
Yeah, no, like I definitely would have that and that feeling. So I never felt like I had to put on for them.
Exactly.
Like
Right.
I just felt like, hey, this is
Exactly.
it.
Right.
Women, they do too much, and that's one of the things they do too much. I feel like women be, men do. What is that? Meaning when you're dating, you're exhausted because you're doing the work. A man that wants you, people like what Mondays is football, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a very masculine game, right?
Yeah.
It owns Monday, right?
Right.
Men will watch it religiously, right?
Right.
Then why do you think if a man is interested in you, he's not going to come after something that he wants? Men are not lazy. They want to do the work, but we show up with all the answers because we got to be smart. We got to do all this instead of just allowing him the space to do the work. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I just really feel like the times that we're in is just like really making it difficult because when we were dating, we were exploring and getting to know people in the moment.
In the moment, in real time.
Yeah, in
that's
real
so
time,
true.
on the date, through conversations, through sharing stuff. But now you're right. It's like if you got a date with somebody, most
You
likely
Googling him,
you're
looking
going
at
to his
Instagram.
Instagram or her Instagram
I can't even
to
imagine.
look
That's
to
crazy,
see
right?
what they're into, what kind of person is this, who does he date. You know, you're getting all this information. So when you show up on the date, you think you know everything, and
Right.
so there's no exploration.
Exactly.
It's
It's
I
a
don't know,
false
because I feel like
exploration. I can see that.
loved going on dates because I like to have fun.
Yeah.
And so I would
And
always
dates are
think,
supposed to be fun.
right. So I
Yeah.
would always think like, ooh, I'm going out to have fun.
Yes.
So that was my goal for every
Yes.
day.
Yeah.
To
Yes.
have fun.
That
I want
is
to be
my
fun.
methodology.
I want to have fun.
That is Stacii Jae Johnson methodology. Exactly, Terry J.
So
Garner.
that's how I would know if
Yes.
I liked him. If he made me happy, if we were having fun,
Yes.
it's like, oh, okay, I can hang out with him.
Yes.
But if he wasn't fun, then like, oh, okay, this isn't somebody I can hang out with.
But you've learned
He's
that
not
about
bad.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to have fun.
Yeah, and
Yes.
we forget that women show up and it's just like we want to know.
I wish they wouldn't do that. I think we should tell you guys, if you are single and you're going on dates,
Don't Google him.
men and women,
Yes.
do not Google or check IGs. Just go on the date and figure out and find out who this person is.
That's
It's
the
so
best.
much better.
That's
Yeah.
the best way.
It's so much
That's
better.
the best way. And I also think that when I say doing too much, that whole feminine energy we were talking about before we started, women, yes, we are bosses. Oh my God. Clap for the bosses. Oh my God, we can run things, we can do it, right? But men, emotionally attractive is not your bossiness. A man has to attract to your emotion. You have to attract to a man's emotional heartstring
Right.
for him to want you in his life for a long time.
Right.
Agree.
And if you don't do that and you just show up bossing and you know, just really trying to impress him by, you know, every success you've had and
Yeah,
you know
that
how
does
you
not
look
work.
physically, then that won't, what that'll do is if you're showing up on dates and you're trying to help him help do his business, or you showing up with all these ideas, all this shit you done read, girl, only thing that's doing is helping you attract his mind. You won't attract his heart that way.
Right.
And that's why he cannot call you
When he
after
feels
that
it,
day,
yeah.
or he'll
Right.
just call you when he feels like it, because you're not
Or
attracting.
he'll call you with a business question.
Right.
That's so sad, but that's so true. He'll call you with a business question, exactly right,
Yes.
because you're not connecting to
That's
his
true.
heart.
That's
true.
And a lot of times, as women, the way that you connect to his heart is by that feminine energy and allowing yourself to be vulnerable in whatever
Yeah.
See,
comes.
you said that's the
come.
key word, that vulnerability,
Yeah.
and
Whatever
we have lost
comes,
that.
comes.
We've
Yeah.
lost that in our society.
Now, don't be no fool now. Listen to what he's saying. You listen with your eyes and your ears.
That's right.
While you open, okay? But you have to walk into each date being vulnerable.
Yeah.
You have to say, I am not scarred. That's why the self-work, the guided self-work. Because we can be doing self-work, and our self-work can involve our girlfriends. And
All right.
depending on who your girlfriends are, that ain't going to be right. You know what I'm saying? That ain't going to be right. But if you're doing guided self-work and dating, and it's being okay with being vulnerable, then the most beautiful things can happen, not just for him, but for you, because you're opening yourself up.
Right.
You know?
But how do you do that though? Like, that's the thing. Like, right? We just live in a world where it's not quote unquote cool to be vulnerable. Like, the women want to be boss chicks, and we want to act like
Girl,
we
that boss
like we
word
have
just-
chips on our shoulders, and we want to do everything because we don't want to admit, okay, we cry, or we're soft, or we're this, or we're that. And not all women, but we just are in a society, and we confuse that vulnerability with feminism
With being
and
weakness.
or weakness,
Which
and
is the
it's
strength
not.
of us. We
And-
give birth to babies.
Right,
We nurture
right.
them with the food from our bodies. Are you
Right.
freaking kidding me? That is the most oh my
That's
God,
the
that
most
is
vulnerable you
power.
can be.
And that is
the
vulnerable.
most
vulnerable.
Yeah,
Right.
right. I don't know why. I always tell women, it's hard. It's hard if you are, again, just listening to your environment, meaning what the radio is saying, what the TV is saying, and if you're listening to your girlfriends. And like, honestly, me, if I wouldn't have become a self-study, I would have probably, I've been asked to be married 4 times. I probably would have been divorced 4 times because the women in my family, they get married and get divorced.
Right.
So you really have to, you know, no one, the worst thing about growing up and being a female sometimes, I think, as far as in relationships, is that our parents say, like my mother told me, I graduated from Spelman, girl, Morehouse across the street, and Clark is too. So you're gonna be okay. Go find you a man. But what is the? How do I get there to? But then have a healthy romantic relationship. What's the road there? And I think that until we become conscious and we go, okay, you know what, business boss, absolutely. Let me become that. But in my relationship as well, I want to put myself on a journey to better myself in that particular area. And I think we don't do that. And when we do it, it's through our girlfriends. We keep putting, we're not getting help. It's just like the mental health. We're not getting help. You know, so interesting, let me say, is geographically as well, because I can do an event in DC. My event can be $150. It's been as much as $250 for 4 hours with me, a group per person. And I can have 20 women in my class. I brought that same event to Atlanta. I'm sorry, Atlanta, but I charged $150 because I was home.
Right.
I would get emails, that's too much, Stacey. Hold on. I took the same event and I had to so that I can make sure I covered myself. $50 for a ticket. That's why I don't do events in Atlanta. I'll speak at your event. Please book me. Contact at StaciiJaeJohnson.com. But as far as
people aren't always appreciated at home.
But as far as me, I'm not putting my money out to do an event in Atlanta because the women here that I have met and who have engaged me on social, they don't want to pay for it. They want to pay for their shoes, their hair, their this. But the women in
they'll pay twice as much.
DC, I'll be back in September. Contact at StaciiJaeJohnson.com for that event I just spoke about, Coach to Love.
I love that.
But women in DC, they pay for what they want, and they realize I got all this power over here, but there's something that's not.
And there's such a powerful woman too in DC, because I think DC definitely, being in politics, you have to put on that masculine coat a lot more, and that is a very hard thing to juggle in production. I mean, we have a lot of women in our field that don't have mates. I mean, you look in a room of female executives, and half of them, more than half, are not married, and it is a struggle. Even when I got married to my husband now, I literally had to learn how to be more feminine at home and learn how to be quiet and learn how to listen to him and learn how to like engage and communicate with him and not produce. Because I was so used to producing, it was like I would come home and I'm like, okay, I can produce this and I can produce this and I can produce you and I can produce the kids. And
then where does he fit? And then we think that, oh, he's intimidated by me. No, girl, he just don't know where the hell he fits.
I've taken his place.
He don't know where he fits. He's trying to double deal. Like, where do I fit? I mean, she producing this, she producing that. So where do I fit?
Right.
He's not intimidated. Now, there are some men that are like that. But 9 times out of 10, the man isn't intimidated by your success. He's trying to figure out where the hell he fits.
And that was it. I literally had taken his place. And I had to talk to my mother, who's been married for over 50 years. And in my house, I remember growing up, my dad kind of ran the house. And so I always said, ooh, I don't want to be like that. Like, he had to sign the report cards. He had to do everything. And I was like, man, my mama don't do nothing. Like, she don't have her own money. She doesn't have this. But what I learned is there's so much power in being silenced, because at the end of the day, it still all ran through my mom. Like, we didn't do anything. We didn't go, when we went on vacation, it was where Etna wanted to go. If we did anything, we had to go back to Etna. So although it seemed like he ran the house, she ran the house. And I had to learn by watching her how to take it off and put it on and be a different woman. And I think that in itself is why this is so important. Even when you're dating, this being Date Girl, this being the book, her coaching, her advice, and when you're dating, when you're married, when you're single, because you should always be dating yourself.
Absolutely.
You should always be dating yourself.
There are 3 people in a relationship. When you fall in love, there are 3 people. It's you, whoever you're married to, and the relationship. And a lot of times people forget, and that's if you're just dating, because I don't want to like you arrived if you've gotten married. Oprah never got married, you know, and they have a great relationship. So when you're in a relationship, it's the relationship. And a lot of times we don't nurture that. We don't nurture the relationship. And like you were just saying, it's important that you date yourself. You don't nurture yourself. It just becomes about the relationship. So then you somewhere over here gone, and it's just a relationship and whoever you're married to. And then 10 years later, you're like, but where did I go? Right. You forgot you were a part of this. It's the only threesome that should be okay. It's you, him, or her, whatever, in the relationship, whoever your mate is. Yeah,
that's important.
And you were saying that because you're known as the single woman's guru. But you also counsel and have advice for married women as well.
Absolutely. And people who are, I always say you start out dating, then you go to exclusivity. After exclusivity, there's intentional, like there's some intent that's before engagement, and then you get married. So I coach a lot of people who are either married and something just ain't right because she's feeling this part over here, what happened to me? You see what I'm saying? I coach a lot of women who are in relationship with their husband like that. I also coach women who they're right at the intentional engagement. Because a lot of times in our community, we want it to be falling apart, or we go to marriage counseling before the marriage. That's absolutely great. But what about before the engagement, child? There's some stuff that y'all need to talk about before that.
Before you even decide.
Yeah. And a lot of times that's why you're at the altar going, this ain't right. I need to go. But the flowers are bought. Okay, so I gotta stay. My mama's here. Okay, so I gotta stay. My family's here. When really there is an intentional dating where you are right before engagement, and I coach a lot of women there because
that's good.
I like to save it, or make sure you are going in eyes wide open when you move into this engagement.
Do you think because
the divorce ratio in the Black community is 70%. So if it's 70% documented, that means that you got people who are married just for the kids, just because, the bills, just because, and it's 52% in the U.S. So that's why for me the intentional dating before you get engaged, that bit of counseling is so important. Coaching is so important.
Do you think that this counseling and coaching is much more important on the woman side? Because do you feel like men, once they make that decision, they're more clear? Because men don't just move in that way unless it's serious to them.
Right. Men, it's so interesting because when men see the title of my book, they like, oh, heck to the no. But when they really get into my methodology, they love it. You know why? Because if you dating somebody and you are going to him saying, but I mean, we've been dating 8 months, we not gonna be exclusive. First of all, what is your problem? Okay? Like, what the hell? Girl, what the hell did you just tell this man? Come here, get into my coaching class. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Like,
get into my methodology.
Like, so when you're going to him, right, but men don't do, and then he says, hey, we're having a great time. Let's continue to get to know each other. Because a man is not going to just hop into you, my woman, a good guy, without him really having some type of connection to when you're gone. He's like, where Terry? Where Cass? Where Stacey? You know what I'm saying? Men do it more right. Again, ladies, when you meet a man and he tells you that he is just, we meet a guy. The guy says he's interested in a relationship. That don't mean with you. Okay? So all of that thinking you got going on in your head that makes you think, oh, that's good. Okay.
He's choosing me.
No. He's saying, and when he says he's not dating anyone, right now. Put that at the end of anything, right now. If you're not exclusive with him and you guys have not, he has not said, hey, this thing, I'm not, I know you were dating, but really I'm at the point now I want to. If he hasn't said anything or his actions are not speaking for him, then guess what? He is still dating other people. And the 6 months before that, when you said, are you dating anyone else? And he says no, that just meant right now. Because if he goes to Whole Foods or anywhere else or with his friends, he is still available until he's not available.
That's right.
Yeah. Because we seem to put, oh, he's interested in me. Yeah, I'm interested. No, he's interested in a relationship. It might not be with you, girl. I'm sorry. And if you asking him that 6 months, I'm sorry. Why do we do that? I mean, we didn't take for 6 months.
Yeah.
That's
do you think it's like female energy? Like, do you think that's just innate in women?
I think because we have fallen for the okie doke that fear is going to lead me. The fear of being by myself, fear of never meeting anyone else. So that's why I have to stay in this relationship that he has basically told me he is not about to be with me.
But also, don't you guys feel that from the woman's point of view, like, oh, we want to be chose. We want to be the one, choose me. I want to be the one that gets chose, right?
Yeah.
And the men are the ones that are doing the choosing. So that puts us in a little bit more of a vulnerable place than them, because when, like I said, when they decide that you're the one, they know you're the one, and there is no hemming and hawing.
Right.
They're like, let's get married, and they're serious,
Right.
and there is no long thinking and da 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 da.
Because they've been thinking all
Because
through
they've
the
been
dating
thinking
process.
every day.
Right.
And they trust their instincts more than we do.
Yes, yeah.
And so, I mean, it's kind of an unfair playing field, because we are, lack for a better word, waiting to be chose, because we can't go to him and say, let's get married.
Well, we can.
Yeah,
but
we can.
that's
Yeah.
right.
I don't think we should be waiting though. That's why you just have like.
I think waiting is the wrong word.
You're just meaning like we're
think
women
that
are
we are
receivers.
just moving along.
Right.
We're dating ourselves.
Yep,
we're going
yep.
on dates.
Yeah.
But we're not the one to make the move to be like, you're the one. Let's get married.
Right,
we
right,
have
right.
to wait
Yeah.
for him when he's ready, or when he decides, or whatever that
I agree, but thank God you took back that waiting, because I'm like, I don't want any of the single girls
I
here to
don't know
feel
what
like
else
they're
to
waiting.
say.
Yeah,
The
waiting.
place of
But I get what you're saying. You just mean just spiritually, universally, we want, as women, want to be chosen. Women
Right.
are receivers. Just
Yeah.
genetically, we are receivers.
That's
they
right.
are the givers.
That's right.
So
But I think
that's
spiritually,
what-
you have to whoever you worship, that higher being. I think that we have to know as single women, just like the right job came along, the right. You
Right.
know, we got I think that we have to just believe that when it's
Right.
time, it's time.
That's
if
right.
we are doing the work.
That's
now, if
right.
we're just going to work and going home and being like, love is going to find me. The UPS man is going to find you. The postman is going to find you. If you live in an
Right.
apartment, the maintenance guy is going to find you.
Right.
But nobody else, honey. Sorry. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So you have to put some energy, not into dating, but into living a full life.
Yeah.
I always tell women that
yeah,
I
I
coach,
believe that.
what
Yeah.
do? You want him to show up with all this damn adventure. Are you adventurous? What the hell you doing but going to work and coming home?
Right.
Well,
Right.
Go out, rent a
Right.
bicycle,
Right,
do
you
something.
want to find somebody to skydive, but ma'am, you're not skydiving.
You're not skydiving.
Right.
You want him to take you on an international travel. Do you travel by
Do you have a
yourself?
passport?
Yes.
That's right.
And do you know yourself? Are you living a full life? I always
Right.
tell as adults, we get so adult-like that we forget
Right.
things that we did as a kid.
Right.
Go back and revisit some of those things. I'm giving y'all too much. Call me to book me.
Okay, so I'm going to go to one to the right. You're giving a whole class right here.
I know.
Okay, so I'm just going to open this. We're going to find something to talk about here. Okay, we're up number 32. You will learn to be honest even when you are saying something that you think the other person doesn't want to hear.
Yeah, let's read the whole thing. So it says, you will find out very early on whether or not a guy can take who you are, who you really are, rather than the guy pleasing version of yourself that you were always presenting when you were only dating one guy at a time.
Representative.
The test for this is simple. You tell him by the third date you will be dating other people. If he can't handle that, then you're done, and you find out sooner rather than later. This is not a problem for you because you are already seeing other people who don't have a problem with it, or you. Being honest also sets the tone for the relationship. He won't take you for granted, and you won't stand for it if he does. That's really big because women always, this is something funny, they'll be like, so do I have to tell him I'm dating other people, Stacey? Well, the only thing that came from a lie is another lie.
Right.
Nothing
Right.
good is going to come out because they hate, like, why we got to tell them? They don't tell us.
Right.
But it doesn't matter what they do.
But you only, if they ask you, you don't
Yeah.
just volunteer information.
Oh, no.
You know I'm dating like 2 other people.
No,
You
no,
know
no,
I
they
do that.
volunteer, don't you?
Yeah, no,
volunteer?
but sometimes a guy, when you get to the 3rd or 4th date, he may ask. He may say, so are
Yeah,
you just,
yeah.
is it just us or whatever. Say,
Yeah.
and I always say, if you go to friendship, hey, I've been dating and I've been in and out of relationships, and at this point in my life, I feel like it's more important to become friends. And I'm having an amazing time getting to know you and becoming your friend.
Okay, so I have a question. It's about the no
There was-
intimacy
where
part.
was
Okay,
that
go
one?
ahead.
No, you keep looking.
Okay,
but-
so dating
Okay.
multiple men with no intimacy. Does that mean no intimacy with any of them. So like, what if you're dating 4 guys, but you're sleeping with one of the 4?
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
Stacey
no
and I
intimacy.
definitely have different methodologies. I mean,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I'm married to one guy now that I am sleeping with, but I'm just talking about in the dating cast.
Yeah, no, if you are not exclusive with any of them, you are not dating. I mean, you're not
If you're not intimate,
Yeah, you're not.
with none of
Yeah,
them.
none of them. None. No sex. Sorry.
No sex.
Yeah, no. What is that? Dry rubbing. No, any of that.
That's hilarious.
You know.
Stacey, you showed me something.
What?
And I was like, no, wait to read that on the podcast. And now I can't remember what it was. It was your pledge, the pledge.
Oh,
the
my
pledge,
pledge,
the
yeah.
The pledge.
Oh, yeah, the pledge. So my mission is to touch and inspire the lives of 1 million single women. So I wrote this
Oh, I love
pledge.
that.
It's called the 1
I love
Million
that.
Single Women Empowerment Pledge Challenge. I had it online as well, but I didn't get the attention that the
You could say.
DICK pledge got.
Did you? I cannot believe you just said that.
DICK. I
The
speak
dick
in-
pledge.
I
that
speak in
everybody-
Oh,
churches.
that's right.
Yes.
When people were doing the dick pledge. That was so dumb.
Yeah, but no.
I remember that now.
Millions
Yeah,
of
millions
people,
of people
Funny.
did that.
celebrities,
Oh,
and all of that.
oh, I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
thought
yeah.
that
They
was
doing the.
crazy.
Yeah, but my pledge of empowerment has not
Right.
gotten the recognition that, But the it goes like this. I am a single woman. I am not desperate. I am not depressed. And I'm not going to settle for just any man that comes my way, no matter how much women outnumber men. I accept love in my life the right way, my way, from a man who deserves me. I accept the 1 Million Single Women Challenge. Will you? And then in my book, there's a place for you to sign and the date, and then you put it in, you cut it out, you put it in your purse, and then you give the other one to a sister, single girlfriend.
That is so, isn't that so
But it's so
dope?
beautiful
I
and
love
positive.
that.
That's why, because
I
we're just
love
such
it.
a ratchet, unfortunate society that of course the dick pledge is going to get really normal.
Yes.
And I think again there is a stigma that women aren't ready to accept. It's because people feel like because you're single, nobody wants you, and that's so untrue. It doesn't mean that, but I think we have. Sometimes women have that mentality, especially if you're in religion, you go to church and it's kind of like the single women's ministry. It's not the single women's ministry because we just bigging up single women. It's the single women's ministry because they were like, we gotta find you a man. We gotta find you an elder. We gotta find you somebody.
Let's go ahead and put you out here so they know who you are.
Right, go be a part of this ministry. And I just feel like it has such a bad
So men
stigma.
come to church and say, who's in the single women's ministry?
No, that's the problem. The men don't come to church and say that, but the women come to church
so
trying to be a part of the
true,
single
though.
women's ministry.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
God.
man, it's
And
just
they have outings. Let me stop
they
laughing
do
at
have
the single
outings. But
ladies
so I'm not,
ministry
y'all.
at
I'm
church.
sorry to
I'm not
anybody that's a
laughing
part
at
of that ministry. I'm not trying to knock your ministry, but you need to be a part of the ministry for the right reasons.
But I can say this: if single women's, the single people's ministry in the church, if you're giving help, if you're giving a guided help for women, because in our communities we aren't learning how to even love ourselves.
That's
first
what I
and
mean.
If we're
This
just
is
doing
what
outings
you
all the
need
time,
to
then
do.
that's
Or
not.
we're
You
complaining
need to go
all
to
the
the
time.
single women's ministry in
Yes.
the church.
Right, because you're doing churches now.
And-
Yes, I am.
Get your
Call me
website again.
any church member or lead in your single members
Women's
ministry in various churches throughout the country. Actually, please
Throughout the
email
world.
me throughout the world.
world.
Thank you,
Yes.
Cass. Yes. Go to contact at Stacii Stacii Johnson.com. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. You
Yeah,
should
I
definitely-
we just need to change
No,
that
it's so
rhetoric. We
true.
need to
Yes,
change
we
that
do need to-
dialogue,
yes.
change that rhetoric.
Because
Yes.
the outings
Yeah.
are not going to get them there. It's really, are you really helping them?
They are.
Because they do more outings though.
They do.
They be out, girl.
They do outings.
But it's not just that you got to wait.
Yeah,
Are
Cracker
you
Barrel.
teaching?
They're
I
eating
didn't say
lunch.
that. I didn't say that. Praise the Lord. I didn't say that.
Do potlucks.
Go to Corral. I'm sorry.
They're Golden Corral and lunch. They're Cracker Barrel for brunch.
Okay.
But
So
anyway.
I just wanted to. Okay, I'm sorry. We're on it now. What is the purpose of the single ministry? Is it to
Okay, well, I
better
think
prepared to be wives?
that is what it is. It's for a lot of
meet
things.
men,
I mean,
or
obviously, I'm
what
not
is
a
it
part of the
for?
single women's ministry. I'm not a part of any ministry, unfortunately. I mean, I go to church, but I don't like clubs. But anyhow, all that being said, it's supposed to be to help you prepare for marriage and help you be a better wife. But again, I feel as though, just from people that I know that are part of different organizations, it becomes a complaint box. It becomes like, okay, well, he ain't doing this, and I ain't doing this, and he didn't do this, and girl, these men ain't here, ain't this. And when you start feeding that kind of mentality, you are going to be single. Because that's what you're bringing into your universe. So if you keep saying men ain't shit, then guess what? Every man that comes to you, he's not going to be that.
Yeah.
And
well,
so,
the first thing is you aren't. That's why you're attracting that kind of man.
That's what I'm saying. Come on.
Right.
You attract
Yeah.
what you feed.
Yeah, you really do.
So that's why I feel like, again, this being Date Girl 143 Reasons Why I Believe Women Should Date Multiple Men is so important, because you have to work on self. You have to get yourself right. Again, going back to me, and I love dating. People be like, Cass, you always got a man like you always dating. I'm like, where do you find them? I'm like, find them.
That's the part.
Like, find them. Like, you don't look for them. You just, they just
You're
come.
living your life.
You live your life, and they
Yeah.
just come out of the
Yes.
woodwork. And
Yeah,
you're like, you.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's the energy that we all, like, we're three women that I'm sure have had very successful dating lives. You've had proposals.
Okay, don't cry. It's
It's
gonna be all right.
emotional. It's so bad.
She's
I know.
No, you know, I think we have energy that we love ourselves. Like Terry loves Terry, Stacey loves Stacey, Cass loves Cass. So it's never been a challenge. But I do have
Don't say
of
never though. I'm sorry.
single-
For Stacey,
For
yeah.
Stacey.
Yeah, it
well,
was
men,
initially.
right.
Yeah. With this 10-year journey, but yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of single women. I have a lot of single friends,
Yeah,
and
me
they
too.
struggle with it. And I try to talk to them, and I'm just like, get you together. Like, you can't, if you're like, oh, I need a man with some money, but you owe back taxes, and your stuff isn't right, and like, you're not going to attract that. You're not going to attract this man that you want with all this money when every time you get a check, you go spend all your money, and then you're calling somebody to borrow money. Like,
Exactly.
get you together.
That is true.
Or there's this whole thing with, I call it the defeatist mentality dater, and you just hit on it when there aren't any good men. There are plenty of
So
good
that's
men.
what I was gonna say. I have
Yeah.
so many single friends here in Atlanta,
Yeah.
and they're like, it's terrible to date in Atlanta, and I'm just like,
No,
Right.
that's
I
because
dated in Atlanta. Yeah,
No,
it's
it
fun.
is no, and I'm dating now.
Right.
it's fine.
It's
It's
fine.
fine.
Trust me,
It's
ladies.
a lot of fun.
Trust me.
They
Yeah.
aren't all gay. They aren't all this.
Exactly.
They aren't all that.
But
It's a
I
lot
think
of-
they have to tell themselves that because they're in this little group of single
Right.
But
women,
that's the
you know,
thing,
and getting information from their hairstylist or the bartender,
Right.
and they just
Yeah,
and they
you
just
gotta
kind of
get out of that.
And then that's
Yeah.
what you attract. Because
Exactly.
now that's what you put out in your universe.
Yeah, I have this coaching thing that I do with, I do, of course, one-on-one, absolutely. Sometimes people can't afford that. So,
But people can.
yeah, okay, so people
But
can.
people
So,
can.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So I do coaching one-on-one. I have
Yeah.
6 classes that I do, 6 Coach to Love for $1,800, and I think there's 10 for $2,750. But because we're talking about girlfriends, I do a village coaching because for me, I hate when single women are on the phone with their girlfriends. Like, I could give you story after story after story, and it's like, she told you to do that?
Right.
Girl, that's the dumbest shit I done heard.
Right.
But that's because what's she doing? So I have this village coaching that I have
No,
a group of 6
love this,
and a group
Stacey.
of 3. And if you, because sisters like to be on the phone, if y'all gonna be on the phone with each other, at least come into my coaching
I
village
love
class.
that.
And then
I
it's the
freaking
same
love that.
pricing, but you get to split because my thing
I
is, you
do.
see
I
what I'm
love-
saying?
And then you have accountability.
Exactly. So you get
That's
the
great.
10 you get
Love
for $2,750, but you can split it amongst 6 women. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So then you can then be accountable for each other
Yes.
as well as you're giving each other what. Remember, because they always say, "What would Stacey say?" You know, you
I
know.
love that.
Remember what Stacey would say is
Right.
X, Y, and Z, girl.
Right.
You know, you don't need to be.
Right.
X, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that I do have village coaching, and the reason made me think of it because you said the stuff about girlfriends.
Yeah.
No,
So
I
different.
think this is super fantastic. I mean, I knew what you were doing, but I didn't know I didn't know all of this.
Yeah.
And I really think that this is beautiful. Now, this to me is a ministry.
It is.
Oh, absolutely.
And I did
This
not
is a
know
ministry.
that
It's a
initially.
ministry.
Absolutely.
And
this
I
is.
think it's purposeful. I think it's needed. I
Thank
think
you,
that
Jen.
I
Yeah.
believe this. I think that women can get so much from it and have fun, and it's realistic, and it's stuff they can relate to and cling to, and it's I think you're gonna heal a lot of women. I think it's
you
really
have been.
great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
thank
you have found what was it your mother said to you? Your mother said
how love works.
How
She wanted
love
to-
works.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
love works. That is such a powerful statement because everything you're doing is how love works.
That's
Yeah.
exactly. And she
It's
was
not
the catalyst
necessarily
for it.
like, oh, how does it work with a man?
No,
How does it work with
yeah.
this?
No.
But that's how people would think about it. Yeah, this how it works. It
Because getting a
works.
man was never my mother's problem.
Right.
It was who
Right.
she was going into
I was
it.
about to
That
say, obviously. I didn't want to be rude about your mom. I'm sorry.
Clearly. I'm sorry. That's what she
clearly, girl, 5 times and she was just 56. Jeez. No,
I
but-
love it.
No. But you're exactly right. I mean, she didn't start dating. She was 20, so that means in 36 years she got 9 men in America.
Okay.
No,
Stop talking about money.
no. Praise. No, my mother saying what she did has given me my purpose. I've always said everything, and I'm not bragging, but it is the truth. Everything that I have tried to do in my life, I've done it on a very high level. Everything.
Yeah.
From my situations in politics, from
Yeah.
acting, I was able
Yeah,
to
we
get
didn't
through.
even talk about any
Yeah.
of that. Don't-
But everything from the film industry stuff, like
Yeah.
everything. So for me, I was the type of person as I felt like because I was good at it, it was what I was supposed to do, and I was making money. This is the first time that I felt like, and during those years, I would always ask God, what am I supposed to do that connects with people? Because I knew that I was born to be, my testimony was just that. My test was my testimony, and I didn't figure out how it connected. Not until I had something happen in my life to where I had to sit down and be quiet and undress and take off all of the
You're
layers of
naked.
things that
Yes.
that
You
I
got
thought was
naked.
me, and I came
Yes.
to that one line from my mother when she
Yes.
said I wanted more than anything, and I promise you, I believe she was in the room because she was like, this time it needs to be something that is connected to that question you've asked yourself for so long. And although I enjoyed acting, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is truly my ministry. It's so funny. This young lady, initially, this woman, Queen Lee, Black, she said, excellent read, give it to your daughters. It's a single girl's dating Bible. And when she said that, she said that to me, I was like, girl, Bible? That means this a ministry? I said, I don't know if what I'm doing. But then I had to give into it. Yeah, it is a
definitely
It
a
is a
ministry.
ministry.
It
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
This is excellent.
Thank you.
Oh shit. Oops. My mic fell. Don't like that. My mic sounds right.
Check one.
So yeah, I'm so proud of
Thank
you.
you.
I'm so
Thank you.
happy for you. This is your ministry. I love to see people walking in their calling.
Yes.
And you're doing that.
Yeah, God is good, and it's I got here through challenges and obstacles and
course.
things happening, and I say that to kind of end and say that, ladies, no matter what relationship you're in right now, or no matter what relationship you want, the common denominator in both of those is you. And you have to do the work on yourself first to get there. And it doesn't mean that just like, I'm not dating now, but there's some guided work that you need. And I really believe that even if it's not me, real talk, there are great coaches that put all their things online, and you can go to their YouTubes or whatever. Of course, I would want you to come to me, but
And
I would.
I want you to come to her.
And I want you to come to her.
Thank
as
you,
well.
Terry and Kaz. But if you can't, just seek information.
Right.
Because spiritually, if you seek the information will come. And I travel all across the country, and you just never know. It might be like, oh my God, I'm seeking it. Oh my God, Stacie's in my city. I go to
Right.
Houston.
Right.
I'm an alumni of Spelman, and the Houston National Association of Spelman College. They're bringing me in June 9th. I'm speaking, and it's not just for Spelman students. Or Spelman grads. If you're in Houston, I'm speaking there. I just got back from Connecticut. I just got back from New York. So
Listen, if you're going to be other places, tell them.
yeah.
If there are.
If you're in Houston, I'm going to be in Houston June 9th. And then, of course, in September, I mentioned DC. I'm back in DC.
Nice.
But go to my website. The easier website is justdategirl.com. Okay? Justdategirl.com. And again, ladies, if you have any group coachings, like that village coaching is really,
I love that idea.
I have
That's
several
beautiful.
groups. I have 6 groups of
I
6
wanna do
right now.
village coaching
Yeah,
with,
where
like,
you
my girlfriend, like
Yeah.
us, yeah, like just
Yeah.
all of us.
it's that check-in that you need sometimes.
And you have wine and you have
Exactly.
Stacey there. That just sounds
Yeah.
like a fun.
Yeah.
Nina Holiday
so-
should do a village coaching.
Yeah.
Village coaching, yeah. So
Nina
go to my
Holiday.
website. Absolutely. So that's all I
Thank
got.
you, Stacey
You're
J,
welcome.
for joining
Thank you
us.
for having me.
Quickly before we go, Cass has a writing.
I have a writing workshop, a screenwriting workshop I'm doing on May 19th. It's an intensive workshop. We're doing structure and character development and arc building and tension and stakes. May 19th. Go to ninaholiday.com to register.
Yes. And we have a film short that I did with my husband that was accepted into the film festival in Los Angeles.
Yay!
And it's going to screen May 13th at 4 o'clock for advance tickets. It's called The Lion's Crumbs. It's an 18-minute short.
What other title?
And it's a comedy about marriage expectations, annoying habits, and lions. So it's really fun. And if you can, get your tickets at IF as in Frank, S as in Sam, film.com. IFSfilm.com. But I will be there May 13th in LA, 4 p.m. for
That's
that
funny.
screening.
And you can catch us all social media at Nina Holiday, at Cass Seegers, at ILGN. Is it podcast or ILGN? No. It's just ILGN on Twitter. And is that it?
I think so.
Oh, I want to get my social media.
Yeah.
Do that.
You're
Do
next.
that.
Yep,
Do that.
at STACI. No, that's wrong, child. Hold on. Senior moment. Okay, at Just Date Girl. That is my Instagram and my what's that other one, y'all? Twitter.
Facebook?
No.
I don't know.
No, yeah, my Facebook.
Facebook, okay.
Yeah.
No, and our podcast
I know.
Instagram is ILGN Podcast.
Okay.
Oh, for I Look Good Naked.
For
Yeah.
I Look Good
I get
Naked
the LGN
Podcast.
part.
And I, of course, am Terry with an I, J. Vaughn. And thank you all for tuning in for another episode of I Look Good Naked.
Yay!
Oh, wait, one more thing. Where can we get these books?
Oh yes, you can get my books, all of my books. We didn't talk more about this
So,
one. This is the
that was
Single
our
Girls
fall
Dating
sending.
Journal. You can get it on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and Walmart. All my books are on all 3 of those.
And then,
websites.
and if they go to your website,
Oh, you can go to my
see all
website,
that
but
info.
honestly, yeah, don't buy from my website, child, because I be traveling. Just go to Amazon.
Yeah, go to Amazon.
Because then I don't really want to
Amazon
mail
is
it
the
to you.
best. Amazon is the best.
It might not be
There we go.
hard.
All right.
Okay.
Pick up
There you
one.
go. Pick up one.
Yes.
I Look Good Naked Podcast. Thank y'all.
Bye-bye.
I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss lady. I be calling shots, I be getting money. I'm a boss chick, yeah, I'm a boss